Today we're going to be talking about how to get a career in tech and how to decide what kind of career that you want to get in technology. So if you're watching this video, you probably want to get a career in technology for a lot of reasons. You make a lot of money, you get to work remotely for a lot of jobs, and it's fun to work with computers and to do that kind of stuff. I am going to share with you my wisdom and knowledge from this and from working with a lot of different developers over my career and coaching them now. And we're going to talk about exactly what it is. So here's the deal. If you want to get into tech, the biggest thing I can tell you now is do not rely on college. College is fine. I'm not saying that you shouldn't necessarily go to college, although I kind of am. What I'm saying is that it's not necessary. Instead, what you really need to start thinking about in terms of life in general is when you want to do something, what do you need to do or what do you need to know in order to do it? That is the most efficient way to do things, right? As an entrepreneur now today, I can't go to some kind of school for something. I mean, I suppose you could, but it's not going to be super useful. Instead, what I look at is I say, well, what is it that I'm trying to do? And then what do I need to do in order to learn what I'm trying to do? What are the steps to accomplish what I'm trying to do? So let's say that I wanted to launch a new course and launch it on YouTube. Obviously, I've done that before, but I could go and I could say, okay, well, are there people that teach this specific thing? I don't need to get an MBA in order to learn how to do that. Or let's say I want to grow a YouTube channel. Where can I go and find that specific information? It's the same thing in tech. So the very first step that you need to accomplish is you need to decide what is it that you actually want to do. If I were trying to get a job in tech today, what I would do is I would go and I'd research the different jobs in tech. I'm sure you could do a Google search and you could find a lot of different tech jobs. And so maybe you want to get a job in cybersecurity. So take a look at that, see what that entails. Maybe you want to do something in IT. Maybe you want to do something as a software developer or web developer. Maybe you want to write back-end code. Maybe you want to do artificial intelligence. There's a lot of different jobs, right? Testing. There's, let's say, a DevOps engineer. Go and research and figure out what is it that you want. First of all, once you know what it is that you want to do, and again, this applies to just life in general, or if you're trying to expand your career to a different direction, then go and figure out what are the prerequisite skills. What do you need to be able to do in order to do that job? The best way to find that out is go and look for jobs. I know you're not ready yet, but this is how you're going to figure out what to do. Because let's say that you wanted to be a software developer. That is such a broad thing. So what are you going to learn? You're going to learn 15 different programming languages and web development, JavaScript and React Native and mobile development, all this stuff? No. Instead, pick out a specific job and decide that I'm going to train myself to be able to get that job. Now, it doesn't mean you're stuck in that job. It doesn't mean that you couldn't do other things in tech later. But what I want you to do is I want you to go to one of the job searching websites and find a job. And then I want you to look at the requirements for that job. What does it entail? And I'll give you a hint here. Don't pick a junior level job. You don't want that anyway. That's just a little hint there. Never take a junior position. Always take a regular position or a senior position, even if you're just starting out. If you want some help on how to do that, I've got a lot of advice in there in my book, Soft Skills Software Developer's Life Manual, or you can check out my other book that was actually a Wall Street Journal bestsellers, Complete Software Developer's Career Guide. So you can check that out if you want some more info on that. So the thing is, though, you need to have some kind of specific set of criteria to start off. Again, this just makes logical sense, like thinking backwards here. So go and look at the job description, figure out exactly what skills you need to have, and then start learning those specific skills. Now, one way to do that is to do a coding bootcamp. I think that's a great solution, is to find a coding bootcamp that aligns with the technologies that you need for that particular job if you're going to become a software developer. If not, look where you're at right now, YouTube. Tons of resources specifically. In fact, a lot of the coaching clients I work with, I teach them how to specifically niche down. I have a coaching client that has a channel devoted to Rust programming. I have one that is a DevOps engineer, like DevOps for developers. I have a lot of them that I'm helping you guys to specialize. The guy that does cybersecurity, a couple guys that do cybersecurity. So you can find a channel that talks about all that stuff and gives you that specific information and training. You don't need to necessarily go to school for that. A coding bootcamp or some kind of training like that, a course, buying a course from one of these guys that is, if you find a YouTube channel and they're teaching, they're probably going to sell a course. I sell courses. That's going to be really the best way to get started in tech, because then you know that you can do the job and you're going to save yourself a lot of time. If you did a self-study, you bought some courses, or you did a coding bootcamp, you could be ready to get a job in 6 months, or maybe even less than that, but definitely in 6 months if you put the work into it, as opposed to going to school for 4 years or 6 years. So the big thing here, guys, is just remember, figure out exactly what it is that you want to do. Figure out what you need to learn in order to be able to do that. I know it sounds like basic, simple common sense, but so many people think that the world works the way that it used to. It doesn't work the way it used to anymore, in the sense that you don't just go to college and get a degree and then you're guaranteed to get a job. No, you've got to actually figure out and learn something, because the world and the economy has shifted.